Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Justin Nimergood. I am your host of the Real Estate Rockstars. I am so excited this morning. We have an absolutely outstanding guest coming on, Miss Suzan Peltekian. And, before we get into Suzan and some of her background and why she's going to be an absolute supercharged guest for us this morning, I just wanted to share a little bit about her background with everyone out there. She's a super passionate lover of her fellow humans and transformation. A manifestation, mindset, peak performance coach, and global speaker. Suzan is really on the trail, blazing out there. Retired from real estate in 2020 to pursue her childhood dream and divine purpose with the mission to raise consciousness of all our precious billions of one human soul at a time. Ken and Michael McLaughlin and unparalleled leadership of Remax Hallmark Realty Group, the number one Remax worldwide, filled up all her coaching spots during COVID. Good for her. She believes the biggest real estate that everyone owns, though, is between their two ears, and that she can guide anyone to co-create their life by design by using their marvelous mind more effectively. Her vision is to co-create yours. It's without further ado, I'd like to welcome Suzan to the show. Welcome, Suzan.
Hello, Justin. Such an honor to be here. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us and for, shall I say, all the nuggets of wisdom I know you're going to be dropping for our fellow listeners and subscribers out there. We're so grateful for you to be with us here this morning. Suzan, I shared a little bit about you. That's your bio, obviously, but if you could just maybe give everyone out there just a snippet, who is Suzan and really how did you get into this amazing line of work that you're in?
Whoa, what a great question. And my goodness, I'm so grateful to be here. And vitamin G is truly the way you truly embody it, which is fantastic, Justin. Basically, this is all I've wanted to do. Of course, I didn't know what a coach was when I was a kid. I wanted to rah people and be on the world stages. And you've heard Zig Ziglar say motivation doesn't last. It's like bathing. And because I have this enthusiastic, loud voice, I was told, I'm like, yeah, I'll get there. And then when I learned this one thing from my mentor that I want to share, should it come up with our precious listeners here, and it's that the only prerequisite to having it all is knowing what we want, and we can dive deeper into that. And we don't get that. We get who we're being. I'm like, we got to get this out to the billions because I made one decision and it was right before COVID, as you said. And all my life I've wanted this, but I never believed in myself, which is most people's stories because of our programming and the viruses and the lies. And I'm here to say that I couldn't, as a realtor, ask one question. Imagine if you're in sales and you can't ask a question. I thought it was rude to say, when do you plan on moving? I was with Mike Ferry.
Oh,
yes.
Wow.
Yes. And it took me 8 months to get my first listing. It was a FISBO. She said my sign is going to go flying off her front lawn if I don't sell it within that week. We got it sold. It was my only sale of the year. The next year, it was my first 6 figures, never looked back. But it wasn't my passion. This is what I do. And through what I teach now, the power of your marvelous mind, I happen to attract the number one Remax worldwide. That Remax is American and this franchise is Canadian. They were in my backyard, Justin. They are in fact. Yes, I had interviewed with them and chosen not to work with them. It's rare I don't like someone. And whoever had interviewed me and we just didn't jive energetically. I'm getting goosebumps. And the owner, the young man who filled up all my spots during COVID, he's one of the owners. And he said, what's your vision? I said, it's to touch the billions. He said, we're going to help you. And he is a man of his word. We still have a fantastic relationship, still work. His average realtor has 4x their income within months of working with me. And that it's the rest is history. 5+ years later, we're here, and they filled up all my spots through the power of the law of attraction, manifestation, and mindset. And he said, why didn't you work with us? I worked with another Remax, by the way. I said, I didn't like the person that I interviewed. So
isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? And you know what? You bring up a really interesting point, which is, and I've said this to people for years, right? So I've had the opportunity to lead some, supercharged, if you will, high performance sales teams in different industries. I mean, the original industry I was in was technology, high tech, way back in the day, and then have kind of made my way through real estate within the last 15 or so years. And I, I'd say that, sometimes people are wired a certain way. And I think is such is the case with you, and actually probably with me, even though I am very much active in my real estate pursuits, and I do actively do deals and transactions on a weekly, monthly basis. My passion is in the coaching as well. That's why I started this podcast. I actually coach and lead a team of about 40 individuals as part of the brokerage that I'm a part of. And, that's really where my passion lies is that side of the house. So it's funny that you mentioned that, because as great of a realtor as you probably were, I bet you're 100x the coach to those realtors. It's like you're usually not both, you're usually one or the other, and clearly you found your niche.
100%. I mean, it's truly my vision to co-create yours. And I'm so elated. Big congrats to you, because a lot of realtors sometimes feel like it's the golden chain, that's it. We've earned so much that we can't. And you can. I mean, I'm here to support whatever journey someone is on. And so big congrats to you, and definitely following one's passion. I don't work a day in my life. I serve, and there's a big distinction for me. So
Love that. I love that. I love that. Now, in the coaching space, I'm sure you can agree there are some role model clients that you're just like, oh my God, they get it. They just get it right away. And like you say something to them and they are like a sponge and they just absorb everything, and they do everything, like all the exercises and reinforcement activities I'm sure that you give them, they do to the fullest, right? But then we have those clients out there, those coaching clients that they're a little bit of a challenge, right? I would love to hear two stories from you. I'm sure our listeners would as well. I'd love to hear a story about, embarking on that amazing role model client. What was it about them that just made them outstanding, supercharged, if you will, in your own words? And then maybe an example of a challenging client, but how you were able to kind of help them get through their fears, their inhibitions, and whatnot into the other side of things.
This is such a fantastic question. And I told you before you hit record that I've been on 50 plus podcasts this year so far. No one has asked me this. And the way I teach it, Justin, and this is a fantastic question, thank you, is it's all about our paradigms, and the ones that seemingly are creating challenge, which, right, is they're challenged by being themselves. It really requires a lot to be a human being. And the ones that are doing it, so I said I've been a coach officially. Supercharged with Suzan was born right before COVID. January of 2020 is when I decided. We didn't know COVID had hit yet in Toronto, like many other places in the world. But I've been doing this for 3 years prior to that, with a lot of, you may be familiar with Mike Ferry. We were all in the Mike Ferry system, Premier Coaching, and we started, it was for free. Listen to this. I started charging them. They stayed. I upped their investment. They stayed. I upped it again. They stayed. This January, I upped it again. They say they're with Mike Ferry. They're with me because this is complementary. You can be just with me if you have his systems, but mindset is everything. It's more than 95% of life. So they have the systems and they really run with it. Like they're with me every single day. And I'll talk.
Wow.
Yeah, it's called the Mind Gym. We're together just like you
Mind
and I.
Gym. Okay.
Yes, because you, if you know Mike Ferry, one of his mentors is Earl Nightingale. I teach a lot of his stuff. He's the Dean of Personal Development, and both Mike Ferry's company and Bob Proctor's, who was in the movie The Secret, have coached me, and they've both worked directly with Earl Nightingale. So right. So
how special.
Yes, it is so special, and thank you. So these gents, they just take it and run. I mean, imagine like they were showing up for free every day, and then up there they get the benefit of being here daily and doing the work, just like we work on our bodies. They're working on their mindsets, which is our biggest asset. And then I'm hearing myself twice. Is that okay? Oh, there's some background noise. Is it?
I don't hear you,
Okay,
so if
continue.
I don't hear you, I think we're okay. I think it might
Okay,
be on your end.
I think it's
We can
fine.
edit that out, so don't
Thank
worry.
you. No worries. Thank you so much for your grace. And then there are so many people, and my work, generally speaking, isn't focused on trauma. It's on
Mhm.
manifestation, mindset, peak performance, which is what I get to do with them. The ones that, to answer your question, are the majority of people who have had either big T or small t. Big T is something like sexual abuse or something like that. And small t, not to diminish it, a lot of us have diminished it. These get in the way of actually people showing up to the office and wanting to make a cold call because now they make rejection about themselves. So it's
Uh,
reframing a lot of things. So if I've had the opportunity, I've literally worked with their traumas first to then support them, because I mentioned the average Remax hallmarker has 4x. The average client, some have doubled, some have tripled, some haven't. Some have 5x, Justin. Some have turned their yearly into their monthly. Now we're rinsing and repeating. So once one deals, the short answer is to deal with one's traumas, because otherwise the paradigm, the way of being, isn't, oh, let me get up and call complete strangers. We were told the complete opposite most of our lives. We were told, don't speak to strangers. It's
right.
dangerous to speak to strangers, right? So it's rewiring the subconscious now, which is the majority of our work, because 95 to 98% of our results, as you know, are coming from the subconscious mind. And I can dive deeper into that as much or as little as
Mhm.
you like. And that's the work. It's literally rewiring so that they understand it's not Susan telling me to do something, because some of us, if you had my nasty ways of being, is like, don't tell me what to do, you
Yep.
know?
Yep. They will reject you at all costs for that.
I was like that. It was a very nasty, bankrupt way of being, if you will. And then there's the flip end, something that I learned thanks to the work, thanks to Bob Proctor and many other mentors, right? Is is knowing our own divinity, knowing how that Susan isn't here to say fluffy stuff to make us feel good, which is what I thought if someone complimented me before, is knowing, right, that you are literally God's highest form of creation. And I use the word God interchangeably with universe, source energy,
Mhm.
infinite
Mhm.
intelligence, whatever fits for our precious listeners, so no one is stopped by the wording. And it's like, you're number one of one. Pinch yourself. You woke up this morning, pinch yourself. So many haven't, so many
Mhm.
didn't, right? And we get to co-create our masterpiece today. You are the masterpiece of all masterpieces, first of all. Understanding that, not here, Justin, in the conscious, which is only responsible for 2 to 5% of our results, but understanding that in our body, in our subconscious mind, in our heart of hearts, I call the biggest real estate the mind, the one between our two ears. Of course, that's the brain. The brain and the mind aren't the same. I just say that tongue in cheek, but really, you have a marvelous workshop that is beyond limitless. And what are we doing with it? And how are we
Mm.
using it to serve an impact? Because your income is completely dependent on that. The more we can create for others, more value in our marketplace, the more you can create for yourself.
And for our listeners out there, I want you to pay attention to the verbiage that Susan uses. So earlier she said, you get to create your masterpiece. You get to, right? It's a very marked shift when you start speaking with that language, with that verbiage, when you start manifesting things in that way, it really transforms and really radiates throughout your body, right? Through every ounce of your being. And so I love the way you speak, Susan, because it's so radiant and it's so necessary, right? And I can totally see why people are seeing 3, 5, probably 10. Some are probably seeing 100x, results from you, because they're able to shift some of these I call them, they're micro nuances. Shifting of those makes a world of difference. It really does.
I thank you for that. And I got goosebumps, and right back at you, Justin. It takes one to know one. And it truly is, it's the small things that matter. And they are the big things after all. And a lot of what I teach, by the way, today, I can share 10, 20, 30, as many as much as we have time, supercharge shifters, all of which are free. And it really does start with our energy. Energy is everything. Everything is energy. It can't be created nor destroyed. So any precious soul listening in today, wherever you are, because sometimes they see my high energy and they're like, must be easy for her. I was the most negative person. I was stuck in a
Oh,
toxic positivity. I was in victim consciousness, checking out my own belly button for most of my life, right? I've done the work. Not only have I done it, excuse me, let me correct myself, be succinct here. I do the work. It's a practice, just like yoga, like going to the gym, right? It's a daily practice, moment to moment. It takes something to be a human being. And when we practice the work, it becomes rainbows and sunshine because of what you just said there. I love how you caught that. I'm not surprised because you ooze positivity. I felt it through your emails throughout the months that we've been in touch. Is yes, indeed, I saw that smile. Is the get to, that is huge energetically, and in what we're saying, we really get to be here, we get to do life, we get to work out. And literally, if we just stop and think, so many can't move. It's like, really, you're
absolutely.
complaining about going to the gym or making your call, so many can't.
Yeah, some don't even have that privilege, right? As they say. Now, you mentioned supercharged shifters. So I might have to pause for a moment because I think this is going to be absolutely magnetic for our listeners out there. Why don't you share your favorite couple, two or three maybe, supercharged shifters with our listeners out there? I'm fascinated.
Thank you so much. You apply a lot of them. So that you're grateful to have me here. Vitamin G is the way to go. And so many, if we can dive deeper into this, Justin, are doing the do instead of being it. That's the missing component. So as I was sharing, I wanted to rah-rah people. And there's a big aspect of rah-rahing in the work that I do with my peak performers, but it's only 1% the bigness of it. Like the
Mm,
rest is all really getting you present to your magic, for you to know, not here in your conscious 2 to 5% of your results, in your heart of hearts, in your subconscious, in your body, that you are literally not only Michelangelo's David, you are Michelangelo, that we're chipping away the lies, we're chipping away, excuse me, not chicking, chipping away the lies, chipping away the programming, chipping away the viruses, if you will, the faulty thinking, so that you can unleash to become not somebody new. We don't need you to become someone new. You're already number one of one. In fact, they say it takes 1 in 400 trillion for you to be here. That's how,
wow.
yeah, what a miracle. You're right.
Wow.
Wow, right? Right? Right. Thank you. And from there, once you know that, is like we're removing the layers of the conditioning, the lies, so that you can actually unleash the essence of who Justin truly is. And that is lifelong work, it's daily practice, and that's the beauty of being a human being. So one of the supercharge shifters is gratitude, but not doing it, because so many say, well, Susan, we're writing it every day. Well, no, are you being it? Not
Mm,
just in the morning for 1 minute, but do you embody it? Or do you just say, I'm grateful for the sunshine? Or do you actually feel it? Because the subconscious mind is the feeling mind, right?
mhm,
It only understands in the present tense also. So are you practicing the work, or are you just saying words, right?
mm.
You embody it, which most don't, and that's the missing component. And it's so easy, by the way. I always tell my precious peak performers, for me to sit here and coach you. How do I show up when adversity hits? How do I show up when there's contrast? How do I show up when it's not rainbows and sunshine? And that's the work. Yeah,
Yes,
right.
yes.
So
That is.
yes. So Neville Goddard says one of the best prayers, which is one of my favorite supercharge shifters as well, is thank you, last thing at night. What do most do, Justin? Last thing at night, they do 10 great things throughout the day. Last thing at night, they're thinking of the one thing that they said that they shouldn't have to a client, or they think they lost a listing and they're talking about that. And whoever's listening in, I don't diminish that you feel like you lost the listing. We don't lose anything. Everything is perception, right? So let's think differently, not toxic positivity like I had, but perceive things differently. Wayne Dwyer said it beautifully. He said, change the way you look at things. The things you look at change. So that's one of our higher faculties, perception. So using perception for us, that's
Mm,
one of my favorite supercharge shifters. You're standing in front of 6, I'm standing in front of 9. You insisted 6, I insisted 9. Well, guess what? You're right, so am I, right?
mhm,
If we keep insisting, we both lose. Versus, well, no, let me see it from let me come and stand where Justin is standing or sitting. And so that there's always, that's one of our higher faculties. So that's one. Gratitude all day, every day. The best prayer, as Neville Goddard says, last thing at night is thank you. So instead of going over the list of what's not working, let's go into the list that is. That's another supercharge shifter, going over our wins, writing them down, meditating, of course, spending time in nature, moving our bodies, right?
Get that blood pumping, right?
Yes. Very important. Daily movement, and we don't have to be athletes. Just move, get the blood pumping, as you said, Justin, and then practicing the work. So many, and so everything I teach, Justin, is not only backed up by neuroscience and quantum physics, it is also in theology. Of course, I don't teach any religion or theology, but in the Bible it says, without a vision, the people perish. And I mentioned to you, I've been on multiple podcasts. A lot of them are coaches. Most of them haven't written their own vision. So that's step number one. And it's going to be the best piece of homework. And don't call it homework, because then it may not be something that one wants to do. We may resist it, right? That's the best. Supercharge Shifters, create your life by design. And how that is literally put pen to paper the minute you listen to this young man's brilliant podcast, and write down everything you want. Let's say I have a magic wand and I say, you can have anything you want, no pressure. I don't have a magic wand. How do you want to live your life? What contribution do you want to leave to our mankind? What sort of business do you want to have? What kind of legacy do you want to leave? How do you want to feel? What trips are you taking? What toys do you own? All of it. From the minute you wake up to the time you sleep, it's usually 1 to 2 pages. Now, to take that and create a supercharged shifter out of the vision, which is step number one of manifestation, is knowing what we want, is there's an app, and I'm not an affiliate, and I should be. I've been recommending for over 5 years, and apparently there are other ones now. This one that I use called Think Up. We take the vision and we record it. Now, realtors so busy. I know, having been a city realtor, we're driving all the time. Turn your car into a mobile university. Listen to Think Up while you're driving to an appointment, to a listing appointment, buyer appointment, or wherever it may be, while you're cooking, if you cook, while you're jogging, walking in nature. Now you're actually, because two things can occupy the same space, you're programming yourself, because life has, let's face it, has already programmed us, but it continues to do so daily. Every ad we listen to, or news, every time we turn on IG or whatever it may be.
Some type of programming that's trying to occur.
Yes. So you program yourself, otherwise life has already programmed us. And two things can't occupy the same space. So the more you take a glass of water, the more, let's say we put black ink in it, it's going to be very dark. But if we keep diluting it by adding more and more and more water, it's going to go clear again. And that's the work we're getting to do here daily in our mind gyms. And that's the power that you have without the mind gym.
Wow. Folks, if you're not tuned in, and if you're not feverishly taking notes, like Suzan said, then you're missing out, because she just gave you an absolute masterclass in what it means to manifest, to truly manifest what you're out there seeking in this world.
Thank you for that, Justin. If I may add on that, I love that you used the word manifest twice. So the number one reason realtors or mortgage brokers or anyone in any industry come to me usually is, of course, they want to earn more, and they want to basically learn how to manifest. We're already super powerful manifestors. Everyone is manifesting constantly and consistently, just because manifestation, we're doing it. We're co-creators. What we get to do is what you suggested our precious listeners to do, is to manifest by design, basically, versus by default. Because most are manifesting all day, every day. It's just that they're manifesting, unfortunately, more of what they don't want. That's what the human race is doing currently. And our work is to get crystal clear on what we want, so that we can now laser focus on what we want all day, every day, instead of what we don't want, to create by design, which is your divine birthright.
Wow. Now, it reminds me of a lot of, and I'm sure you went through this shift, right? There was probably a market shift in your universe, in your world, where you just had that moment of I've had enough, right? I've had enough of doing things my way or whatever this other way was that wasn't working, that truly wasn't working for you, and then you make that shift. When was that moment for you, if you could pinpoint it?
Ooh, I love this. Okay, very juicy. So I'll dive into a framework that I teach. None of what I teach are mine, by the way. They're all borrowed, recycled from the universe.
I mean, we all do in the coaching world, let's be honest.
Yes, yes, yes. And in every other world, I'm with you. The stuff is created. We can't reinvent the new stuff here. It's all right. Um, I was doing Money Mondays. We were on a Google Hangouts team, and whoever's listening to this model that I'm about to dive into, Justin, I'm so grateful you asked. You can apply all day, every day, throughout the day, throughout your life, without being in coaching, and just keep benefiting.
And just go.
Right. It took me, by the way, I'm not proud to admit this, but it took me years to learn this model. I was living, as I said, in the victim consciousness, not even being aware, like most fish in water, didn't even know that I was unaware. But life will keep sending you people, places, and circumstances that are in harmony with the vibrational frequency you're in. And if you're not aware, they'll come to show you where you're at. And the hit becomes harder and harder. And I learned the hard way. That's why it's such a privilege. And I'm so humbled to coach people to get them out faster from the water instead of, hey, but I'm in water and I don't know I'm in water. And it starts with the be, do, have model. To explain that, I'll explain the two bankrupt models that most of us are living in. Most of us are in the victim consciousness of have, do, be. When I have the marriage, I'll be happy. When I have the divorce, I'll be happy. When I have the kid, I'll be happy. When I have the kid who leaves the house, I'll be happy. When I have the mortgage paid off, I'll be like very bankrupt model. When I have the money, I'll join coaching. Very bankrupt way of living. Versus, and then I moved from there to do, have, be, which was the busy bee, hustle and grind as a realtor, Toronto realtor. You can imagine I was just, oh my goodness, running around like crazy. And I actually believed in hustling and grinding, waking up at 4 a.m. I used to wake up at noon prior to that. So it was quite a contrast.
Quite a shift.
Yeah. And I was on a Money Monday call where we had put together a Google Meet where a bunch of realtor friends, we were calling, and 200-300 people a day and zero response. Literally no one was even taking my call. And that's all because everything is energy and I didn't understand it. And what I'm about to share, I always share stuff that don't work because I have the magic formula. As I said, it's not mine, so I have bragging rights. It's the be, do, have model, Justin.
Yes.
And it's being first as human beings, you know it, you embody it. I could sense it is from your emails is as human beings, we've become human havings and human doings, which is the irony. And yet it's be first. From that beingness, let's say be intentional. So I'd be like, no results. That's what got me to sick and tired. It's like, come on. And then I'd be like, okay, guys, first call, watch out. It's going to be a listing appointment. I'm going to go get them signed up. And it would be, and people would be like, how is she doing this? Or what is she doing? And it wasn't that I was better at the scripts or this or that. It was, it clicked that it's all energy. People can sense, they say, if you're just dialing, to make the dials or dialing just to get a paycheck versus dialing to serve. And you're being intentional, you're being in your power, you're being goal oriented, and you're being laser focused. These are all powerful ways of being, right? That I was being, and I was quite frankly being decisive and being faithful and right. And it would be that. So that was it for me. But it was also before knowing about the power of decision, and every precious soul listening in, Justin, to your brilliant podcast is literally not only one thought away from a completely different life. So wherever you are, they're also one decision away. But what most are trying to do is see it to believe it. I'm telling you, it's here. You're like, well, no, it's not here. And when we are being decisive, it's one of the highest vibrational frequencies we can be in. Instead of waiting for the market to shift, for us to shift, it's an inside job, right? We create our own economy. We shift the inside. The outside must transform by law. And these are my laws. They're God's laws. They're universal laws, just like the law of electricity. Don't stick your finger in there like I did when I was a kid. or it's going to be troublesome, right? You'll learn quite fast, right? Or the law of gravity, we're not going to ever go up if we jump out of a balcony, right? These are laws that are constantly and consistently working. So many believe in it to an extent or don't believe in it. Well, it's working whether we believe in it or not. What are your predominant thoughts? And are you aware of them?
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Like it's mind-boggling to think how simple some of these things are, but yet how challenging it can be for someone to make these shifts in their life, right? If, as they say, when you know better, you do better, right? So
Yes, awareness is key. Awareness
it's
is key. And
absolutely
Bob would
key.
tell me, Justin, that it's the only difference between all of us. And I've given this example, a couple of different examples. Like we're at a 5-star luxury resort. So the person who goes there versus the person who works there versus the person who owns that resort and a gazillion others globally, there's no one is better. And we are taught, of course, in society that someone is better. It's just awareness. And I give the example, different levels of awareness of the most luxurious condo building on the planet. People taking care of the electricals don't have access to the building. They're underground. They don't even know it's a luxury building. Someone
Right.
living on the 3rd floor has an idea but doesn't see the glory of God around, like that it's literally surrounded by the Mediterranean and the Aegean and everything in between. And the person on the 18th floor sees all of it, but then there's the owner who owns that building and a gazillion others globally arrives on his helipad, right? So we get to decide what work we want to do daily to to arrive at whichever awareness level we want to have, because a lot of us taught one of the biggest lies, that it's greedy to want to be the owner. Not only is it not greedy, it's our spiritual duty to actually have as much as possible so that we can support our planet and our communities and ourselves, quite frankly.
Yeah, and when let's be honest, when you have more of an opportunity to help others out there, right? And that's the little thing I think that people overlook, unfortunately, is like they feel bad, they feel guilty, and that's because that's programmed into us from a very young age, as you've already gone over.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
we're going to shift gears for a second, Susan.
Sure.
We're going to shift gears to the kind of the last section of our podcast, of our time here today, which has been
Already.
just absolutely fabulous, by the way.
Thank you.
And I'm going to throw a couple zingers at you.
Sure.
So have some fun with this. This
Anything.
is all in fun and games, if you will. So the first question is this: let's say it's your 80th birthday. Set it up for us. Paint the picture. Who's there? What's going on? You know, what are you really celebrating? Like, set it up for us. What's going on at your 80th birthday?
Oh, I didn't see that coming. I haven't been asked that one. For me, I'll be feistier than ever, healthier than ever. The most important is I saw right away when you said that, me on the world stages having touched the billions already. Like, well, hopefully far before that, but it would be a like and redefining what 80 is at the moment, because I think it's already been redefined by men and women, right? Like just a few years ago, I remember when I was younger, a woman my age was considered an old hag. Now women double my age aren't. They're
Right.
considered, right? So I will have, you use the word trailblazer. I think you did too much there for me. Thank you. I hope to have become that, actually, to have made that massive impact and be co-creating more and literally having a birthday party like none other, but on stage, serving like with
Oh,
billions of people there, because this is my life's work. I, by the way, have chosen not to have children. I refer to my clients as my children lovingly. This is my divine purpose. It's my childhood dream, and it's everything that I want. This is my gift to my humanity, and I, quite frankly, am humbled by it. So
wow.
that would be something that I really want. Thank you for allowing me to paint the picture and for me to gain clarity of what I want for my 80th.
It's a fun question. You may know Lewis House. So I borrowed some things from Lewis. Lewis and I actually had the opportunity to share some space on stage. This was several years ago now, or it feels like lifetimes ago now. But wonderful individual, human being. You want to talk about positive energy off the roof. I mean,
Yeah.
he exemplifies it. So some of these I would love to take credit, but they're actually borrowed.
Listen, he recycled them and he's fantastic. So are you. Congrats on being on stage with him. He really is a positivity, isn't he? I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh.
Absolutely. All right. Second question. This one's fun too. This one's actually a lot of fun. All right. So, and imagine this in a positive framework. I don't want you to think of it in negative. Not that you ever would, because I don't think have an ounce of your fiber in your entire body that's negative. But imagine for a moment that it's your last day on Earth. Okay.
Yeah.
And you can only preserve 3 items in your time capsule that will carry your legacy and carry on within the memory of you forever. What are those items and why? 3 items in a time capsule.
It would be this work that I got. I feel privileged, lucky. There's no luck in the law of attraction. It would be to take this work and transfer it to the billions, and if there are more by then, that would really be it, because our mankind needs it. We want to raise our conscious awareness to turn things around. Wow. So it would definitely be that. With that, then you can create anything you want. The stuff is just stuff.
Yep.
It's nice to have stuff, but that's about it. We don't want to be owned by them. We own them. So there's no material. If I had to say something, it would be pictures. Those are like my most valuable for me. Pictures are all that matter, other than the people, of course, but I can't put a person in a time capsule. That would be a little strange. I mean, maybe it'd be kind of cool, but so then no, if there's no person, then it would be, my legacy would be to leave the work, basically I want to leave the world better than when I found it, when I arrived in the 80s. That's amazing, Suzanne. And let me also say that this question, it doesn't matter who I ask this question to, all the answers are roughly the same. It's pictures, it's memories, it's your life work. It's funny. I don't think I have yet to have one person say, I want to put my Lamborghini in the time capsule. You know what I mean? Like, you really illuminated how important all that, or the lack of importance, I should say, all that stuff has. It really isn't important at the end of the day. Legacy is about something that carries on far, far beyond us, right? So I love that you answered the way you did. I kind of suspected you would, but I love that you did in anyway. Thank you so much. And now I'm not an author yet. I will be multiple times over. So maybe I would leave those as material there, because it's, again, passing on. I want to leave a massive dent, a difference, not from ego, from love. And for everyone to find out, my real message is for you to find out how divine you are, for you to know, not here, but in your heart of hearts, how exquisite you are, how magical you are, and that Justin being that, even if there are a trillion other Justins, I know there aren't a trillion people yet, that you are it. And it doesn't take away from the other Justin. It's just that you are number one of one. And what magic can we really co-create? And how would we enter listing presentations? How would we coach people if that's what we were embodying moment to moment? How would we approach any contrast we have in our lives, any adversity, which a lot of realtors are going through in today's market, when you know how exquisite you are? The thought process changes completely. Like day and night. Yeah. Absolutely. 100%. Wow. Amazing. Okay. We got one more question for you. All right. Bring it on. We're almost at the cliff top here. We're looking over on this great landscape. So this one's a simple one though. But we are curious. What is your definition of a real estate rock star? What is my definition of, you cut off? A real estate rock star. Living their lives by design. So creating their business by design, their life by design, where they're creating massive impact to our one world or to their markets, right? Without sacrificing themselves. So first of all, everyone is a rock star based on what I believe, that you are God's highest form. And are we consciously aware of being it? Most of us aren't, right? But to be it is like you basically live. The equities that I teach is time freedom, location freedom, purpose freedom, the freedom, relationship freedom, and most important, the freedom to be ourselves, Justin, without all of the masks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Woo!
That's
Y'all, if you did not tune in today, you missed a good one. We had Miss Suzan Peltekian on. I really, really appreciate you coming on and sharing your wisdom. One final thing, where can everyone find and connect with you if they want to, connect with Suzan a little bit more?
You're funny. I love it. You're such a fantastic host. Thank you, Justin, for making it so fun. And that's, by the way, one of the fastest ways to manifest. So if anyone tuning in, if we can bring more fun and levity to our days, that's fantastic. I've been invited to speak second, third, fourth time. If this resonates with your people, which I said are my people, and you said vice versa, I'd love to give more pointers to realtors because this is very positive. And if they want to go into the nitty gritty of how I can help them, I'd be happy to come back. I am at Supercharge with Suzan. I write my name with a Z. In the States, a Z is a Z, so that's Suzan.
Yes, the first one I've ever met like that. Well, first one I've ever met with a ZAN. I mean, I've met ZANNEs before, but not ZAN. So yes, you are the first of your kind.
Don't tell anyone. My parents didn't write it properly, so they think it's this. People think it's a Suzanne. It's Suzan with a Z because it's supposed to be with an S. So yeah, and I dive deeper into this stuff for free Mondays in my private Facebook group. I answer any and all manifestation, mindset, peak performance questions, Justin, and Fridays on IG at Supercharge with Suzan. So if anyone wants to pop in and ask any questions, I'm here to serve.
Here to serve. And that's such a beautiful thing that you said. Folks, I hope you took feverish notes today with this absolute masterclass by Miss Suzan Peltekian. And, we just had a wonderful time. Suzan, if it's all right with you, we'd love to have you back on again in the future. Some of our favorite co-hosts here, we like to bring back, for kind of a check-in on things. So, if it's all right with you, we'd love to have you back again in the future.
I would be honored to. Thank you. And I may change my story about what I want to do at 80. Okay. I've done that party already, so I'll share. But really, there are so many things about manifestation that I can share that I'd be delighted and humbled to actually share, so we can make a massive difference together. Thanks for this fantastic podcast you've created and the difference you make to all of us, Justin. It's so great to meet you.
Thank you. Folks, it's another wonderful episode here on the Real Estate Rockstars. I'm your host, Justin Nimergood. We're signing off. We'll see you again next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Oh, thank you. You are so fantastic. Thank you, Justin.